Psychology says people who grew up in the 1950s are often called outdated, stuck in the past, or out of touch with modern life. Not rigid, not disconnected, and not behind the times. What you actually possess are rare psychological traits that modern generations are struggling to redevelop. Here is why your brain developed differently. Growing up without constant digital stimulation, instant gratification, or curated social comparison meant your neural pathways formed around delayed reward, genuine human connection, and intrinsic motivation. Research shows that childhood environments shape core personality traits that remain stable across your entire lifetime, and the 1950s created a fundamentally different psychological foundation. And if you recognize yourself in this era, there are real psychological reasons behind the traits you carry today. Here are 5 remarkable characteristics that define your generation. If you can sit through tedious tasks without feeling restless, you probably developed what psychologists call high frustration tolerance during formative years. Research shows that children raised before instant communication and same-day delivery develop stronger prefrontal cortex regulation, the brain region responsible for delayed gratification and patience. Your mind learned to find satisfaction in the journey, not just the destination, because waiting was not a frustration but a normal part of existence. Imagine writing a letter, waiting weeks for a response, and feeling genuine joy when it finally arrived. That anticipation built neural pathways for patience that simply cannot develop when everything appears with a single click. This does not mean you are slow to adapt. It means you possess the rare ability to commit to long-term goals without needing constant validation or immediate results. Here is the next one. If you maintain friendships that have lasted decades, you probably experienced what psychology calls high-investment social bonding. Studies indicate that face-to-face interaction without digital mediation creates stronger oxytocin responses and more secure attachment patterns. Your generation did not have the option to swipe past people or ghost someone with a blocked number. Every relationship required effort, presence, and genuine commitment because connection was not unlimited. Think about showing up at someone's house unannounced, spending entire afternoons talking without checking a phone, or resolving conflicts without passive-aggressive text messages. Those experiences taught your brain that relationships are worth investing in, worth repairing, and worth maintaining through difficulty. This does not mean you are clingy or dependent. It means you understand that real intimacy requires time, vulnerability, and consistent presence. Number 3. If your first instinct during problems is to figure it out yourself rather than search online, you probably developed what researchers call internal locus of control. Psychology reveals that children who grew up solving problems without external databases or tutorial videos built stronger critical thinking and resourcefulness. Your brain learned to trust its own problem-solving abilities because there was no algorithm to provide answers. Picture needing to fix something broken, having only your hands and basic tools, and actually succeeding through trial and error. That process built confidence in your own competence that many modern people never develop. This does not mean you reject help or collaboration. It means you possess the rare confidence to trust yourself first before outsourcing your thinking to external sources. If you can sit quietly without feeling bored or anxious, you probably have what psychologists call low stimulation threshold for satisfaction. Research in neuroscience shows that dopamine pathways develop differently when childhood lacks constant entertainment and digital dopamine hits. Your brain learned to generate contentment internally rather than requiring external stimulation every few minutes. Imagine spending hours reading one book, listening to one album repeatedly, or watching one television program per week and feeling completely satisfied. That experience trained your reward system to find depth in simplicity. This does not mean you are boring or unmotivated. It means you possess the increasingly rare ability to be present and content without needing constant novelty. Here is the final one. If you feel genuinely uncomfortable breaking your word, you probably internalize what psychology calls intrinsic moral development. Studies indicate that growing up in communities with strong social accountability and face-to-face reputation consequences built deeper ethical frameworks. Your generation learned that your word was your identity because there was no way to reinvent yourself online or escape social consequences. This does not mean you are judgmental or inflexible. It means your sense of right and wrong comes from internal conviction, not external approval. If you grew up in the 1950s, it does not mean you were living in the past or unable to adapt. It means your mind was shaped by experiences that built patience, loyalty, self-reliance, contentment, and integrity. These are not weaknesses in a fast-paced world. They are psychological advantages that modern society is desperately trying to reclaim. Sometimes the people who seem out of step with the present are actually carrying wisdom the future will need. If you want more psychology videos that explain your personality in ways school never taught you, hit that subscribe button right now, because the next video might reveal something about yourself you have never realized before.